It can save you thousands of dollars or just hundreds of hours of research. Be looking at grossing between $5,000 and $6,000 a month on Airbnb. However long you want, it could be 2 months, it could be 4 months, it could be 6 months. Most agents in Toronto have no idea. They'll just sell you a property and tell you you can Airbnb it. Next thing you know, you're getting a letter from the condo corp saying that you're paying their legal fees and you're on the hook for a pretty nice bill there.
What is happening with Airbnb in Toronto? I'm here with Emma Pace and we're gonna dive deep into it. You are a condo specialist in Toronto. You're an agent in Toronto. We have other videos with you on the channel, so make sure guys get back and check them out. But Emma, you also do Airbnbs, you do condos.
Yep.
Let's talk to the audience about it. Like, what's going on? Everyone's worried right now.
Yeah, no, I think, legislation is changing. It's obviously becoming a bigger issue in Toronto with the balancing act of, a lack of inventory for long-term rentals, but also not enough hotel inventory. So what's the balancing act and what's the intention for the city and what's happening sort of close to the end of the year? So as of end of August in 2019, the city is trying to implement some rules around new legislation for Airbnb. The intention is that it must be your primary residence in order for you to actually rent it out on short-term rentals. So the goal is for them to eliminate the Airbnb hotelers.
Right.
So primary residence, if you are going to rent out your primary residence, the allotment would be less than 180 days a year. So basically, half of the year you're allowed to utilize it for Airbnb. The other half you have to utilize it for either long-term rental or personal use. So my personal thoughts around that is potentially executive rentals, like I know you're going to end up doing in London. So that might be 3-month stays or something like that. Anything longer than 30 days is classified as long-term rental in Toronto. Anything, actually I think it's 28 days. Anything under 28 days in Toronto is short-term rentals.
Seems interesting if they're going to say, okay, your personal residence, you can only do 6 months, but then what's the difference between putting an executive rental in there versus for a year versus Airbnb for 3 months?
Yeah, so executive rentals, as far as I know with the city of Toronto, are still considered long-term rentals because they fall under the landlord and tenant board rules based on them being longer than 30 days long, right? So in theory, you can do executive rentals in Toronto however long you want. It could be 2 months, it could be 4 months, it could be 6 months, even though some condo corps might not necessarily agree with the length of stays. I've seen a lot of them implement short-term rentals as less than six months. So you still need to make sure that you're being cognizant of what your building allows. But in regards to what the city is allowing at this point in time, in my opinion, from what I've read, anything over 28 days sort of negates the Airbnb rule.
All right, so let's say somebody sees a condo in Toronto and they say, oh, I want to Airbnb this. What steps should they take, like right now and in the future?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely do your research and work with an agent that has an idea of, and an understanding of what's going on with it. Rules and regulations, what buildings are allowed, that kind of thing. Most agents in Toronto have no idea. They'll just sell you a property and tell you you can Airbnb it. Next thing you know, you're getting a letter from the condo corp saying that you're paying their legal fees and you're on the hook for a pretty nice bill there. So first step is make sure that you're purchasing in a building that actually does allow Airbnb, because it can get quite costly if not. And then second thing is, I would recommend actually getting Phil's course or coming to a mastermind or chatting with us for a coaching call or anything like that, so we can make sure that you're being set up properly and ensuring that you're actually cash flowing in Toronto. It's the only way that I think you can actually get some cash flow with a condo downtown, unless you're putting down 50% or so.
Yeah, so speaking on that, if you guys want a coaching call with Emma or anybody, Phil, myself, hit me up on Instagram, hit Emma up on Instagram, get that going for you guys. That little coaching call can save you a lot of headache down the road, right? So
it can save you thousands of dollars or just hundreds of hours of research. So I think it's well worth the money. I'm always investing in my business with mentors, and even now, we're here in Miami. I specifically spent money to come down to this event so that I could network with these guys and really kind of infiltrate your sort of network and who you guys sort of surround yourselves with, right? So here's my thing, right? Like, whatever. I had to pay for a flight. I had to pay for a ticket. We had to pay for this Airbnb.
Yeah, we're down at Grant Cardone's 10X Growth Con. If you've seen the other videos right now. But yeah.
But look at the relationships that we've built over the last week. It's completely invaluable. It was well worth the money invested, and it's much more than a coaching call would cost for any of us, right?
If you guys are looking to invest in Airbnb, come out to our masterminds, come out to anything else we have, ask us questions, coaching calls. That's going to be invaluable to you guys. So what are a few tips for setting up a listing for Airbnb once you have it now?
So one thing that I would recommend is spending some money but being somewhat frugal on the furnishings, right? So one of the questions that I get asked a lot is like, how much money do I actually need to invest to be able to furnish my unit? Things that you really need to invest the bulk of your money in are mattresses. Like, you want to make sure someone's having a comfortable sleep, because they will leave you a bad review if they're not comfortable. But in terms of, the frugal type of items that you guys can purchase to help furnish your unit at a lower expense, artwork. Go on Kijiji, find some, HomeSense, sale racks, Winners sale racks, anything like that. Like, thrift store whatever you can, other than, I would say, like sheets, pillowcases, mattresses, like all of that kind of stuff.
For mine, I got like a $1,500 chair marked all the way down to $200.
Yeah, it's perfect.
You guys look for deals like that, guys. It doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to kind of like relatively look expensive.
100%. The way that I look at setting up my Airbnbs is similar to how I sell properties in Toronto. So if you go on Realtor.ca or Zoocasa, which is the company that I work for, you'll notice that probably 50, if not more % of the listings that are available online in Toronto are staged. So my mentality around Airbnb is like, I'm always trying to sell my unit. So I want to make sure that in this sea of gray with a million listings in Toronto, mine stands out as the one that could be sold the easiest based on the pictures and the marketing and the furnishing and stuff like that.
As realtors, we know this. It's very clickbait. We want people to come in the door to buy the property.
Yep.
Same thing for the Airbnb, guys. You got to really think about it this way. At the mastermind, we went over some really bad listings.
Yes. Yeah.
And we see bad listings on the MLS, or at least I do in my city, maybe the Toronto.
For sure.
But like, everything from toilet seats up to, it's ridiculous. Like, the amount of, you guys spend a lot of time on staging and then the photography.
The front end, for sure.
You have it forever.
Forever, yeah. Don't cheap out on the initial marketing cost of professional photos and making things look good. I would even hire a stager for a consultation for $100 or $200 to make sure everything looks perfect, so that I can more easily sell my listing for the next year or two, versus having people come in there and getting bad reviews or not getting the traction that I'm looking like, and then having her come in later.
And I have a designer who had designed my Airbnb, and she owns an Airbnb herself, so that was like so key that she wasn't just coming into it as like some kind of a stager designer type mentality, but more with the Airbnb in mind. I thought that was very valuable. If you guys are in my area, you can reach out to me. I'll be happy to pass her along.
Yeah, the other thing that we're gonna start offering too, if you've already got your Airbnb set up, is a listing optimization. So we'll go through and analyze your property and ensure that you're getting top value, top dollar per night, and the highest number of bookings possible, based on our analysis and the Airbnb algorithm.
There's an algorithm you guys can't even see. If you're 4 stars or 5 stars, there's a higher 5-star than the other 5-star that you guys aren't even probably aware of. And we'll go in, we'll see all the back end, and we'll help you guys out, bring you to the top, get you guys the best bang for your buck every night for guests staying there. And so quickly, like, how much is your Airbnb taking in for money versus if you would have just had like a regular tenant in there?
Yeah, so my Airbnbs were 1-bedroom plus dens. We'd probably be looking at grossing between $5,000 and $6,000 a month on Airbnb, whereas with just a general long-term rental, we're probably looking at $2,300 to $2,500 a month. So we're looking at 2 times.
Not 10x, but
it's not 10x, but it's 2x, and that's pretty good in Toronto.
Absolutely, right?
So you can actually get pretty close, if not beyond, the 1% rule in Toronto condos with Airbnb, and that's the only way to make it happen.
There you go. So you get all the appreciation and you get some cash flow too.
100%.
Very cool. Thank you for coming on the channel. We're gonna have a lot more videos with Emma upcoming. It's been so exciting to have you. We gotta go back to London, Ontario, but then I'll be in Toronto. I'm gonna see you again. We're gonna shoot some videos coming up this month. So stick around on the channel. If you guys are new to my channel, tons of real estate tips, agent tips, investors, Airbnb, you know, travel vlogs. I'm always around the world somewhere, so you know, come on, find us on Instagram. I don't just pretty much post there daily. I post there every single day, like all the time. So get over on Instagram, follow us. How do they find you on Instagram?
They can find me at Pace of Base on Instagram, or you can email me at emma.pace@zoocasa.com if you want to reach out to me there.
All right, sweet. Thank you, Emma. And guys, we'll catch you on the next video. Bye.